2 Samuel 15, Absalom's conspiracy. After this, Absalom provided for himself a chariot and horses, and 50 men as runners before him. He would get up early and stand before the road to the gate of the city where court was held. And when any man who had dispute came to the king for judgment, Absalom would call to him, "From what city are you?" And he said, "Your servant is from one of the tribes of Israel." Then Absalom would say to him, "See, your claims are good and right, but there is no man appointed as the king's agent to listen to you." Moreover, Absalom would say, "Oh, that I were appointed judge in this land, that every man who had a dispute could come to me and I would just get justice for him." And whenever a man approached to bow down before him, he would put out his hand, take hold of him, and kiss him. This is how Absalom dealt with everyone in Israel who came to him. Absalom is playing on the people's emotions and perhaps justifying himself in his actions against Ammon as well. So he said this is how Absalom dealt with everyone in Israel who came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. And after 4 years, Absalom said to the king, "Please let me go and pay my vow, which I have made to the Lord at Hebron, for my birthplace. For your servant made a vow while I lived in Geshur. If the Lord will in fact bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord by offering a sacrifice of thanksgiving." And David the king said to him, "Go in peace." So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, you shall say, 'Absalom is king in Hebron.'" Then 200 men from Jerusalem, who were invited as guests to his sacrificial feast, went with Absalom. They were innocent and knew nothing about his plan against David. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite and David's counselor from his city Gilo, where he was offering sacrifices, and the conspiracy grew strong, for the people with Absalom increased continually. David flees Jerusalem. Then a messenger came to David, saying, "The hearts of the men of Israel are with Absalom." And David said to all his servants who were with him at Jerusalem, "Arise, let us flee, or none of us will escape from Absalom. Go in haste, or he will overtake us quickly and bring disaster on us and strike the city with the edge of the sword." The king's servant said to him, "Listen, your servants are ready to go, whatever my lord and king decides." So the kings left and all of his household with him, but the king left behind 10 women who were concubines to take care of the house. The king left and all the people were with him, and they stopped at the last house. And all of David's servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites, Pelethites, and the Gittites, 600 men who had come with him from Gath, passed on before the king. Then the king said to Ittai, the Gittite, "What should you go with us? Why should you go with us too? Go back and stay with the king of your own country, for you are a foreigner and exile as well. Return to your own place. You came only yesterday, so should I make you wander with us today while I go where I will? Return and take your brothers back with you. May loving kindness and faithfulness be with you." But Ittai answered the king, "As the Lord lives, and as my lord the king lives, most certainly wherever my lord the king may be, whether for death or life, there will be your servant also." So David said to Ittai, "Go on and cross over the brook." So Ittai the Gittite crossed over with all his men and all the little ones who were with them. While all the country was weeping with a loud voice, all the people crossed over. The king also crossed over and the brook, and all the people went on towards the way of the wilderness that lies between Jerusalem and the Jordan River. There's lots of information in here. It says, making the choice to stand with the right man, even when it looked like he might spend the rest of his life in exile, was not practical, but it was right. We will all have to make choices to tell the truth, stand up for honorable actions, or support someone who is right but not powerful. Taking the right path does not mean it will be easy, but we are on the right path. God is with us, even through the sunless valleys of the shadow of death. Very true, very true. All right, so now Zadok also came, and all the Levites with him, carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and they set down the Ark of God in the Abiathar. The priest came up and officiated until all the people had finished passing from the city. Then the king told Zadok, "Take the Ark of God back to its rightful place in the city of Jerusalem, the capital. If I find favor in the Lord's sight, he will bring me back again and let me see it both in its dwelling place. But if he should say, I have no delight in you, then here I am. Let him do to me what it seems good." The king also said to Zadok the priest, "Are you not a seer? Return to the city in peace, you and Abiathar and your 2 sons, and your son." There's a couple sons, and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar. "See, I'm going to wait in the fords of the Jordan in the wilderness until the word comes for you to inform me." So Zadok and Abiathar brought the Ark of God back to Jerusalem, and they stayed there. And David went up to the ascent of Mount of Olives, weeping as he went, with his head covered and walking barefoot in despair. And all the people who were with him covered their heads and went up weeping as they went. David was told, "Your counselor is among the conspirators with Absalom." David said, "Oh Lord, I pray you turn the counselor into foolishness." It happened when David came to the summit, the Mount of Olives, where he worshiped God. Behold, the Hushah, the Archite, came to meet him with his tunic torn and dust on his head as if in mourning. David said to him, "If you go on with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city and say to Absalom, I will be your servant, O king, as I have been your father's servant in the past, so I will be your servant now. Then you can thwart and make useless advice of the Athapite for me. Are not Zadok and Abiathar the priests with you there? So it shall be that every word you hear from the king's palace, you shall report it to them. Their 2 sons are there, and by them you shall send to me everything that you hear. So Hushai, David's friend, returned to the city, and at that same time Absalom came into Jerusalem. All David's committed the entire situation to the care and will of the Lord, but he was acting wisely to protect himself and to provide a source of information, as well as an inside confederate to confound the enemy. Lots of drama going on. This is your Daily Bible Chapter, reading God's Word Monday through Friday. I'll see you tomorrow.